Sometimes you might look at an ad and think it's boring or annoying. And yeah, I agree. But sometimes we can make ads not so boring. Hopefully not annoying too. So here comes emerging technologies. New tools in the marketing world that make it a little more exciting and a little more creative. In this video, I'll talk about 3 different emerging technologies: AR, VR, and the metaverse. All of these digital tools are fairly new, but have been used in game marketing before, and there is a potential for more games to use them in the future, so should we use them? Warning, prepare for some complicated descriptions. First, AR. AR, or augmented reality, is a process of integrating digital information into a user's environment. The technology overlays itself on top of the environment to affect perception rather than the actual physical space. To do this, devices use cameras, sensors, and displays, often in the form of smaller devices like a phone or tablet, or wearable ones like glasses or headsets. While viewing your surrounding area through this device, you can see digital content like 3D models, for example. And if that didn't make any sense, just look at the screen, you can probably guess what it is. Almost 4 out of 10 AR gamers believe that with some changes, it can be more interesting. This includes businesses investing in more immersion and cheaper devices. It might sound sort of complicated, but from a consumer perspective, it can be simple. One of the most famous examples of AR usage in video games is Pokemon Go. Created in 2016, Pokemon Go is a free-to-play augmented reality game created for mobile devices. In the game, users find, capture and battle Pokemon that they can see in the real world through their phone. Using GPS, the game takes advantage of where people are walking and for how long. Due to this, and the AR taking characters outside of their usual game world, players were encouraged to go outside. A rare phenomenon, I know. But this use of AR was a good marketing strategy for the Pokemon brand. This game became a global craze when it launched in 2016 and holds over 80 million average active players monthly. Pokemon is already a strong established brand, but the mobile game brought a greater audience. People who had never heard of Pokemon were now going out to play, and it introduced the series to a new market. And it's true, 35% of people who don't usually play games have expressed interest in AR gaming. Gaming as a whole is becoming more mainstream. Pokemon Go is a good example of the brand becoming a part of public space. The game actually increased socialization, and while there were concerns about safety on roads and such, the virality created awareness of the brand. That's through social media and word of mouth. Being a game, customer loyalty is created by simply being enjoyable and having replayability. And the simplicity and accessibility of the game makes it so shareable. In another way, VR can help make awareness too. VR, or virtual reality, is a simulated 3D environment that is explorable and interactable in a way that is immersive. It doesn't show the real physical environment, but instead is perceived as a separate digital one, often viewed through headsets. This digital space is what differs VR from AR, and this space can be interacted with rather than simply viewing the content as if it was in the real world. Now, VR can be used as a marketing tool, often to showcase games in new formats and once again introduce brands to a new audience. If you've got a VR headset, you might be willing to try out games for the first time just because they hold a promising VR experience. VR contributes to this idea of experience. There are a lot of games of these emerging technologies, but the main point is that they combine physical and virtual elements. Consumers are experiencing these brands and games in a new way, making them extra engaging and exciting. These immersive worlds create interest in the characters and stories. For example, games like Batman Arkham Shadow, Until Dawn Rush of Blood, Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted, and Half-Life Alyx are all examples of VR games that were created as follow-ups in their series. These games aren't just another entry in the IP, but they act as a new way to experience those worlds, and that is an incentive to try them. If you try one, you might try more, which is good for the companies that sell them. The combination of immersion, realism, and interactivity are all major benefits of these emerging technologies. They expand the potential of game development and customer engagement, reimagining these experiences. However, these technologies are expensive and time-consuming to develop. Not only that, but you have to consider whether your audience has access to this technology. You might want to gain the benefits of AR and VR, but if your target market cannot afford a VR headset, for example, you're not going to reach the customers you want. Instead, you might just be targeting people with more interest in the technologies than your actual game, which is often the case when games just become the marketing tools themselves. Like with the metaverse. You've probably heard the metaverse when talking about the company Meta, but all it is an immersive digital space, often as an open world that users can interact and immerse themselves with. One of the most popular platforms for this is Roblox. Roblox is a free game building platform with over 70 million daily players. Brands usually use this platform as a way to create awareness and will either create games or run events. For example, Nightland and Gucci Town are popular metaverse worlds. Players can try on clothes on their in-game avatars and explore the brand. It's a good way to engage a global audience and drive traffic to your content that may be viewable on external links or just for you creating interest. But if we want to talk about the gaming industry on its own, metaverse platforms like Roblox or even Fortnite Creative, it's not just the brands that can create games, but players can too. Roblox has a collection of developer and collaboration tools to allow users to create their own games and avatar items that others can play with through Roblox. The whole platform takes advantage of the metaverse concept where users can eventually earn real money through selling items and such. The company doesn't need to invest too much into the site because user-generated content and co-creation is so prominent. It acts as an incentive to interact with the site, being a marketing tool in itself. Not only that though, because with such a large player base under 13 to 16, people want to interact with their friends on Roblox rather than social media. The platform's selling point is about that socialization through the metaverse. Similar to VR, it's about that shared experience. After all, when you play a game, it's all about the experience you have and the feelings you gain. So if players can get positive shared experiences, they're going to come back to Roblox. And with user-generated content, the game stays interesting. Or at least in that case, it's over 40 million games, but who's counting? Not me, I looked it up. So AR, VR, and the metaverse, each being immersive and engaging, but which one's the best? Well, I think it depends on the brand and the audience. Pokemon Go's use of AR was successful and being played on mobile devices for free was accessible. I would say VR is a little less accessible due to the cost of headsets and devices with that technology. But if you know part of your audience uses VR, you can create games that way. There are benefits to it. Roblox as a co-creation metaverse platform has also been successful, and it is free to play anyway, if we ignore optional in-game purchases, but not a lot of games use it to promote themselves. You're more likely to find clothing brands or musicians in Fortnite events, rather than having official game companies make games on Roblox. After all, if they are developing their games on their own, Roblox does not have the same level of tools on its own site. You could argue in that case that AR and VR is better for game companies, and the metaverse is good for general businesses. From my own perspective, I definitely think those two technologies have had more of an impact on the industry anyway. In game presentations and events, there are reveals for VR games alongside console and PC games, more often than those involving AR and the metaverse. But as much as those technologies are beneficial, will they have a greater impact on the future than AI will? If we go back to the idea of experience, AI personalizes experiences through data. It takes details from user interactions so that promotions are aligned to the consumer. That can be with the way they receive communications, the level of communication, and the type of content. As a result, I don't think we should pick one over the other. Again, it really depends on what a company thinks their audience would prefer, like how they might not like generative AI but would be fine with AI recommendations. There should be a balance. If we're going to create great experiences in games and market them, we can collect and inform the decision-making process using AI, but we can use emerging technologies based on that information. For instance, take the metaverse. Roblox has a selection of AI tools available for game development, such as translation services and suggesting code. When you go onto the website, players can be recommended games, including those they've already played. AI can enhance this by taking user experiences and comparing what games would be best suited. AI has many benefits to its usage for businesses. I think it will have a prominent role in the future marketing strategies, but it doesn't mean that we should overlook emerging technologies. They might not have as much use as AI, but they can still be used. They provide a level of engagement and immersion to players that isn't always possible through traditional methods. Then again, they refer mostly to the products, so they're not a total replacement of traditional marketing anyway, because of the power of authenticity and connection. So I do think AR, VR, and the metaverse will have an impact on the future of marketing, but not as much as AI. However, these methods will never truly replace each other. We'll probably just create new methods as technology is guaranteed to develop in the future. Whether that is with AI, AR, or something else, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, 5 ways technology will revolutionize marketing in the future. AI, customer data, maybe we are the future. I'm just really good at predicting things.